Hollywood has been rocked, but no one is reeling quite like Lisa Bonet. After years of silence and unanswered questions lingering between her and Malcolm-Jamal Warner, his sudden passing has left her shattered. And the moment she received the news, it's one that'll leave you speechless. While the world saw them as the epitome of America's sweethearts, behind closed doors was a much different reality, one filled with heartache, unresolved feelings, and a truth Lisa never had the chance to express. Until now, once upon a time, Lisa Bonet and Malcolm-Jamal Warner were the most beloved pair on television. Charismatic, stylish, and endlessly captivating. Their chemistry as Denise Huxtable and Theo on The Cosby Show didn't just seem real, it was real. It reflected an off-screen connection that resonated with millions around the world. But as is so often the case in Hollywood, what the cameras showed was just a sliver of the full picture. Now, with Malcolm-Jamal Warner's tragic and unexpected passing, Lisa Bonet is finally breaking her silence. And what she's sharing has sent shockwaves through the industry. In today's video, we'll dive deep into the true nature of their emotional connection, the hidden grief Lisa carried for years, and the emotional collapse she experienced upon hearing the devastating news. We'll uncover what really led to their split and how the fallout left lasting scars on Lisa's heart. You'll see her unfiltered, emotional reaction to Malcolm's death caught on video and the heartfelt message she privately sent to his family, which only surfaced days after his passing. The sorrow, the regret, and the truths that were never spoken are now being brought to light. This is where things become intimate and profoundly painful. Before the silence, the scandals, and the heartbreak, there was something truly special. Lisa Bonet and Malcolm-Jamal Warner's paths first crossed on The Cosby Show, where they played siblings Theo and Denise Huxtable. But what happened behind the scenes told a different story. Their chemistry off-camera was just as intense. With Lisa's enchanting, bohemian charm and quiet mystery, she quickly stood out as one of Hollywood's most unique figures. Malcolm, with his grounded energy and reflective charisma, was the perfect counterbalance to her free spirit. As they spent long days filming, their friendship gradually deepened. Fellow cast members often recalled seeing them slip away between scenes, sharing laughter, deep talks, and rare moments of stillness. It wasn't long before the rumors of a real-life romance began swirling, and this time, the whispers were true. Though the couple kept their relationship incredibly private, insiders described their bond as intense, meaningful, and deeply rooted. They were young stars navigating fame under a microscope, but in one another, they found calm in the chaos and a rare sense of comfort. They weren't just lovers, they were soulmates and best friends as one. Former crew member once shared during an interview, amid the chaos of Hollywood, it seemed they had created a little world all their own. Even with the heavy burden of fame pressing on their shoulders, Malcolm and Lisa managed to preserve their relationship for years, especially as Lisa began stepping beyond the confines of her sitcom image. She shocked audiences nationwide with her raw and fearless role in Angel Heart, while Malcolm started diving deeper into his passions: music, directing, and writing. These were two young creatives, constantly pushing boundaries, leaving their mark in the industry, and still staying close despite it all. But behind the scenes, their world wasn't as flawless as it seemed. The fame, the expectations, and the pressure began slowly taking a toll. As Lisa delved into her spiritual and artistic path, Malcolm remained anchored to the demands of a more traditional Hollywood path. Gradually, their dreams started pulling them in opposite directions. And just as quickly as their love had bloomed, the fissures began to form. What came next was a quiet but heartbreaking separation, one that emotionally gutted them both, but left Lisa carrying those wounds the longest. And here's what most people never realized until now. Lisa never fully let go of Malcolm. Though she seldom spoke of him publicly, those in her inner circle insist he was always on her mind. The one she mourned silently. The one who remained a part of her even after the love was gone. They say his name was one she still uttered in hushed moments of solitude. He was her first real love, a close friend once revealed. And love like that? You don't bury it. You just learn how to exist around it. But what makes it even more heartbreaking is this: just days before Malcolm's untimely passing, Lisa reportedly attempted to reach out. That call, however, never made it through. And with every heartbreak comes a sea of words never spoken. For Lisa Bonet, that silence has become the heaviest burden she's ever had to carry. Even though the world once saw Malcolm and Lisa as Black Hollywood's golden couple, their love wasn't strong enough to withstand the crushing pressure of fame, shifting identities, and diverging creative visions. As their professional lives took flight, so too did the emotional and physical space between them quietly expand. Lisa was always the uncontainable spirit, someone who never quite fit into any mold. Following The Cosby Show, she fearlessly dove into provocative, boundary-pushing roles like Angel Heart, a performance that shocked conservative viewers and, according to some reports, created friction with Bill Cosby himself. Playing it safe was never in her nature. She was always on a quest for something raw, unfiltered, and real. That very path made her question everything, including her bond with Malcolm. On the other hand, Malcolm was on his own journey. He was thoughtful, grounded, and at his core, more conventional. While Lisa longed for unrestrained freedom and bold self-expression, Malcolm yearned for harmony and steady roots. What once was a shared vision had quietly diverged, two futures no longer aligned. They were both evolving but in opposite directions. As one longtime friend described it, Lisa was fire, and Malcolm was earth. Their connection was genuine and deep, but in time, they began communicating in entirely different emotional languages. By the early 90s, the two quietly decided to part ways. No dramatic fallout, no media scandals. Just a slow, silent unraveling that broke both their hearts. Lisa never publicly spoke about the breakup. Malcolm almost never mentioned it either. But those close to them revealed that, behind closed doors, Lisa was quietly devastated. What followed was years of silence. Lisa continued on with life, marrying Lenny Kravitz, giving birth to their daughter Zoe, and later finding new love with Jason Momoa. Still, despite her growing family and rising career, there was always something unsettled, something left unsaid. And when the news emerged that Malcolm had been hospitalized after a suspected drowning, all those buried emotions surged to the surface. Sources close to Lisa say she was in shock. She hadn't spoken to Malcolm in years, not since a quiet email exchange back in 2018, where she'd allegedly shared her regrets over how things had ended. Upon hearing about his condition, she didn't hesitate. She reached out immediately. According to insiders, Lisa called the hospital 3 times that very night. She pleaded to speak with him, just to hear his voice, to say goodbye one last time. But Malcolm was unconscious, inaccessible. He never heard her voice. He never received the message she was finally ready to share. "I'm sorry I let go when I should have held on. I never stopped caring." The voicemail went unheard. Her words never reached him. Just days later, when Malcolm passed, Lisa was left heartbroken, crushed beneath the weight of all that was left unsaid. Their love, once vibrant and alive, was now frozen in time, unfinished, unresolved, and unforgettable. Those close to Lisa say she hasn't stopped weeping since. She's retreated from the spotlight, declining interviews, withdrawing from the world, and grieving in solitude. It feels as though a piece of her soul vanished with him. But this isn't just the grief of losing a former partner, it's the torment of losing a soulmate. The kind of grief that comes from a love that never faded, and the painful realization that closure may never arrive. For years, Zoe Kravitz had only heard fragments of that story. She always knew her mother, Lisa Bonet, had lived a vibrant, complex life before she was born, from her rebellious days as a Cosby Show star to her whirlwind romance with rock legend Lenny Kravitz. Much of Lisa's past was shrouded in quiet mystery. But one piece remained particularly vague: her mother's deep, unspoken connection to Malcolm-Jamal Warner. That piece would soon come back into focus, but in the most devastating way possible. Zoe, now a major star herself, was in the middle of filming when her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. First it was her assistant, then her publicist, and then her mother. Finally, a single message shattered her world. "Zoe, it's Malcolm. He's gone." In shock, Zoe dropped everything and rushed home, only to find her mother sitting alone in the dark, clutching an old Polaroid in her hands. It was a photo of her and Malcolm, taken back in 1987. Some truths are hard to swallow, even when they come from someone you once saw as a father figure. Behind closed doors, insiders claim Malcolm felt deeply let down by Cosby, especially after Cosby began creating distance between himself and the rest of the cast amid the fallout from his legal scandals. It's been reported that Malcolm declined several reunion offers, events that were seemingly designed to help polish Cosby's public image. And these offers? They weren't modest, they were substantial. So what about the rest of the cast? Felicia Rashad, best known for her role as Claire Huxtable, finally shared a statement on Instagram nearly 3 days after the story broke. Her words were, "My heart breaks for Malcolm's family. He was always a bright light on set with deep thoughts and even deeper wisdom. This is a profound loss." But what stood out to many was what wasn't said: no mention of recent communication. No confirmation of whether they had remained in touch. Tempest Bledsoe, who portrayed Vanessa, reportedly broke down in tears during a live podcast just hours after hearing the devastating news. Choked up, she managed to say, "He was my brother, not just on screen. He was my brother in real life, but I think he carried something inside that none of us ever really saw." In contrast, fans started asking questions when Kashia Knight Pulliam, who played Rudy, shared a single black and white photo of Malcolm to her Instagram story. No caption, no message, no tribute, and within a day, it disappeared. That silence sparked curiosity. Why such brief responses? Why so little said? Was there something more going on behind the scenes, something the public never knew? According to an anonymous former crew member, tension had always existed on set, particularly between Malcolm and some of the older cast members, especially after the Cosby allegations came to light. Malcolm, they say, was more vocal than most, more willing to confront difficult truths. That level of candor didn't sit well with everyone around him, and here's where the story takes an even more intense turn. Just weeks before his passing, Malcolm had reportedly been working on a memoir, a tell-all account of his time on The Cosby Show, a book that promised to delve into the secrets, the loyalties, and the price of staying silent. Those familiar with the publishing world claim he even had a working title, Theo's Truth. What you didn't see on Thursday nights. Could that explain why some of the cast's reactions felt distant or unusually muted? Is it possible that a few members of his on-screen family already knew what was coming and had been bracing themselves for the impact the book might have had Malcolm lived long enough to release it? All of this creates a heartbreaking picture. A man adored by millions, caught in the space between preserving a legacy and revealing the truth. An actor who bore the burden of shielding a brand that once gave him everything but may have left him paying a steep price in silence and solitude.